Like, he sat still the whole time. So I think we waited until the right age to bring him to the movies finally. Hi, Patricia. All right, guys, so I'm going to get started because it is 8:30 and this is about sleep, so we want to be able to get to bed at a decent time. So I'm just going to get started. I have a lot of notes because I don't want to forget to share anything with you guys. But like I said in in one of my posts, I said, sleep can affect things like our waistline, our stress levels, just like our overall functioning. So it's just, we all know that it's important, right? And like I said, it's like that magical unicorn, right? We all want to catch that magical unicorn. So I'm just going to share some tips on on the importance of it, and then how we can work on getting a little more sleep so that we can function better. So I thought this was very interesting. Did you guys know that about 35% of us use either a smartwatch or our phones to track our sleep habits? So that's a pretty large percentage, 35% of all people. So it means that we're trying to figure things out. Like we're trying to figure out why we're not getting enough usually, right? Like that's why we're trying to track it. This was a study done by Verizon. So feeling tired is definitely a part of life, but if you are waking up every day, every morning, and you're feeling, like exhausted, or you're just like sluggish, then, and if you know that you're having trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, then that might be, something that you want to pay attention to. And of course, there's things that happen in our lives, like stressful situations, work demands, and having a child, baby, toddler. Sometimes, they keep us up. So the problem with not getting enough sleep is that it affects our mood, number one, right? Because when we're, especially moms, we know if we don't get our sleep, we're crabby the next day. It affects our weight, our workouts, and our health down to the cellular level. It can also impact our hormones, our blood pressure, our performance, right? Like either at work or when you're trying to work out, but then you're too tired and you can't really work out well. So we all want to have that feeling of being well rested and just feeling energized for our days. So the amount of sleep that we each need kind of varies from person to person, but experts recommend that we get at least 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours really is the average of what they recommend. And it's been shown that people that sleep less than 7 hours have a host of problems, including some of the things that I just mentioned, but even immune problems, heart disease, obesity, depression, just really bad things that we want to avoid. And then disrupted sleep can also impact the way we feel. And we have 4 cycles of sleep. So the first cycle is called N1. And that's really it's kind of the bridge between being awake and falling asleep. So this is when we when we first put ourselves to bed usually, and then our breathing and our heart rate starts to relax, our muscles relax. And then we move on to N2, which is when we're even more relaxed and our body temperature drops. And that's why it's so important to try to sleep in a place that's cool. You want to try to keep your bedroom a little bit cool. You want to avoid having it be hot. So something to keep in mind. Then N3 is the next phase. This is deep sleep. So this is where our body is finally recovering from our day. And this is typically the hardest phase to wake up from. So if you ever taken a nap and you knew that you slept a little bit too long, and then you wake up and you're a little disoriented, that's because you've entered N3. So during this phase, our heart rate and our breathing slows down to the lowest levels, and our brain waves also slow down. So this is where our bodies repair and restore muscles, tissues, our immune function gets boosted, we release growth hormones, and we just feel re-energized for the coming day. And then the last phase is REM, so rapid eye movement. And this is usually about an hour and a half after falling asleep. And most of us have 5 or 6 REM cycles, and each cycle lasts longer as the night goes on. And this is when dreaming happens. If we wake up in the middle of the night, when the alarm clock goes off in the morning, with their dreams. So making it to REM sleep is very important also for learning and for our memory purposes. So let's talk about how sleep affects certain things like our weight. So let's talk about that first. So sleep and I'll say obesity, but not even obesity. It's just sleep and weight gain can have a complicated relationship. So when you don't get enough sleep, what happens is that the release of our hormones get disrupted. So our hormones like ghrelin, which tells us when we're hungry, and then also leptin, which tells us when we're full, they get mixed up. So have you noticed that when you're tired, you kind of tend to eat more? Or like if you wake up, say you wake up at like 4 a.m., right? Like you've been tossing and turning and you wake up at 4 a.m. because you're like, I can't stay in bed. I'm going to wake up my husband. Or you're just like, I've had it. And you go downstairs, you go to your kitchen, and you all of a sudden you're like, I should eat something, right? And usually we don't reach for, a piece of fruit. It's usually like chips, something salty, maybe something sugary. And then, a few hours later, at least to me it happens, a few hours later when it's like my normal breakfast time, I'll want to eat my breakfast again. So you're consuming all these extra calories, and then some of those calories are not the healthiest things. And it's also because our hormones are getting disrupted. So when we're continuously not getting enough sleep, we could potentially have some metabolic issues, which regulate how our body regulates blood sugar, or blood sugar levels. So a study found that after 6 nights, just 6 nights of sleeping, only 4 hours, the subjects lost 40% of their ability to break down glucose. Glucose, as you guys know, is a key factor in weight gain, and also developing diabetes. So now let's talk a little bit about sleep positions. So according to sleep experts, let's talk about like a few different ways. So there's the fetal position, right? You can sleep on your right side, your left side, on your back, or on your stomach, right? Like usually that's how most people sleep, right? According to sleep experts, sleeping on your back is actually the best way to get a good night's sleep. But it's actually it's one of the lowest percentages of like how people actually sleep. Most people sleep in the fetal position, and that's how I sleep actually. So sleeping on our backs is good for preventing aches, because what happens if you continue to sleep on one side of your body, then you might develop aches. So if I'm always sleeping on my left side, I might get pain on the my left side of my neck, left shoulder, left side of my body, anywhere really. And same thing if you tend to sleep on your right side more. And then if you sleep on your stomach a lot, it could be good for like preventing snoring, but it's putting so much pressure on your muscles and joints. And then also if you keeping your head sideways to breathe, you're not really able to get enough oxygen. So you're kind of obstructing your airways, and also you can get neck pain as well. So if you have to sleep that way, you could try sleeping with a pillow under your forehead so that you can create a little more space for yourself to breathe. If you sleep on your side, then you could sleep with a pillow between your knees, which I do that sometimes. You can also use like a body pillow. And then if you sleep the fetal position, what you could do is... So you want to try not to curl up too tightly. So that's like restricting your breathing again, and you can have that like stiff and sore sensation. So try to just extend your body a little bit, and then again, place a pillow between your knees. All right, so now I want to talk about some of the things. I'm just going to take a quick sip of my seltzer here. But what are the things that we should be avoiding as far as drinking or eating before we sleep, right? So caffeine, right? Caffeine is an obvious one, as well as alcohol, nicotine, right? Because caffeine, which is found not only in coffee and tea, obviously, but it's also found in things like soda, chocolate, and some medicine. So make sure that you're checking your labels. We might think that alcohol might make us kind of relax a little bit, and put us in a mood for sleep, but the thing is, it's actually better to drink at least 4 hours before you go to bed, 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So if you want to have a drink, try to have it like during dinner or like right after dinner. Don't wait like for like 9-10 p.m. to have like a nightcap. Okay. We also want to avoid eating before bed. So try to finish your last meal a few hours before you are going to sleep. And just stay clear of any foods that cost you indigestion. Now, water, right? We can drink water. Obviously, water is like the best thing to drink. But you also want to avoid drinking too much right before you go to bed, because then you risk waking up continuously because you have to pee, right? Working out late in the night also, it's not really the best thing, because when your body secretes the stress hormone, and then you want to make sure, cortisol, so you don't want to be secreting cortisol right before you go to sleep. Another thing is that you want to make sure that you're trying to go to sleep at around the same time every night. Okay, and then we know a lot of us have heard this already, but avoid screen time, because the blue light is just, it does not help us. It doesn't put us in that mood to get rested. And another thing is, you should be creating a routine. So just like we create routines for our children, you want to create a routine for yourself as well. So you want to put yourself in that like calm mood, read, maybe listen to like soothing music, do whatever you can, do whatever works for you. If you have the luxury of having the time to take a bath, take a bath. Or even if you do that once or twice a week, do that. And don't force it. I mean, if you really can't fall asleep, then maybe that's not, if you're trying to go to bed at 9:00 every night and you're still like tossing and turning there, then maybe that's a little too early for you. Maybe that's not your ideal time. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. And as always, I would always recommend that you talk to a doctor if you're having problems falling asleep or staying asleep. I'm not a doctor, so definitely talk to a medical professional if you feel like you really need some further assistance. And I wanted to share I might have to post this in the group for you guys later, because I had a list of some foods that were good for helping sleep, but I